He didn't hate discipline because it was hard. He hated it because it was boring. No fireworks, no adrenaline, no new chapter feeling. Just the same small actions, again and again, like a life with no soundtrack. He wanted motivation because motivation felt like a movie. It made him sit up straight, breathe deeper, and believe the next hour would finally fix everything he hadn't fixed in years. Discipline felt like the opposite. Discipline felt like doing dishes when nobody's watching. It felt like brushing your teeth important, invisible, and completely unglamorous. This is the story of Liam, a man who thought he needed more intensity, more passion, more drive. But the truth was simpler. He needed boring on purpose. Liam had big goals and a messy calendar. He could dream in detail, but he couldn't execute in routine. He lived in bursts, 2 strong days, then a soft collapse. When he felt inspired, he would sprint. Gym, diet, deep work, reading, planning, everything at once. He called it commitment. In reality, it was a spike. Then the spike would fade, and his standards would fade with it. The same habits he praised yesterday felt pointless today, not because they didn't matter, but because they didn't excite him. He didn't say, "I'm addicted to excitement." He said, "I'm not feeling it." That sentence sounded harmless, but it quietly gave his emotions the steering wheel. And when emotions drive, consistency crashes, because emotions are weather. They change fast. They don't care about your goals. They care about comfort right now. Liam kept waiting for discipline to feel good. He wanted the calm confidence people talk about, the stable energy, the automatic drive. But he didn't understand where that came from. It didn't come from motivation. It came from repetition. And repetition is boring by design. One Tuesday, he woke up and felt nothing special. Not sad, not excited, just normal. That should have been a great day to build discipline. Instead, he treated normal like a problem. He searched for a spark. He watched clips. He tried to hype himself. He tried to manufacture a mood. The mood arrived for a moment, and he felt powerful. Then work started. The mood left, and he felt betrayed, as if the world broke a promise it never made. That afternoon, he looked at his to-do list like it was an insult. The tasks were small and clear. That's what made them unbearable. There was no drama to hide behind. He realized he had become emotionally dependent on dramatic change. If it didn't feel like transformation, he didn't respect it. If it wasn't intense, he didn't count it. That's why discipline looked boring. Discipline didn't feed his ego. Discipline didn't give him a story. It just asked him to show up, quietly, like a worker. Liam used to think boredom was a sign something was wrong. He thought boredom meant he picked the wrong goal, the wrong path, the wrong routine. But boredom is often the sign you finally reached the real work. The work that's too simple to impress you. The work that builds results without entertaining you. One night, Liam sat in his room and opened an old notebook full of fresh start plans. Bold goals, perfect schedules, aggressive timelines, and pages of enthusiasm. He felt a sharp embarrassment. Not because he wanted too much, but because he kept replacing consistency with excitement, then calling it trying. He wrote a sentence at the top of a clean page. "My problem is not effort. My problem is maintenance." He stared at it until it felt like truth. Maintenance is boring. Maintenance is repeating the basics when nobody claps. Maintenance is the reason strong people stay strong, not because they feel amazing, but because they don't stop. Liam decided to test a new idea. What if boredom isn't the enemy? What if boredom is the gate? What if the reason discipline works is because it feels too boring for most people to stay? The next morning, he didn't chase a mood. He didn't try to feel ready. He chose a small routine and treated it like a shift at work. He set a timer for 20 minutes. No music, no hype, no perfect setup, just one task. He told himself, boring is allowed. Starting is required. The first 5 minutes felt uncomfortable, not because the task was hard, but because his brain wanted stimulation. It wanted novelty. It wanted escape. He noticed how fast his mind tried to bargain. Check your phone for 1 minute. Switch tasks. Optimize your plan. Find a better method. His brain wasn't helping. It was avoiding boredom. Liam realized something important. Distraction is not always weakness. Sometimes distraction is the brain begging for entertainment because it never learned to tolerate quiet work. He stayed anyway. He kept working while feeling nothing. And that was new. He wasn't chasing a feeling. He was building a pattern. When the timer ended, he expected some big emotional reward. Instead, he felt something smaller. Relief. Not the relief of finishing life, but the relief of not lying to himself. He wrote one line in his notebook. I did it while bored. That sentence felt heavier than motivation because it was proof. The next day, he repeated the same 20 minutes. Boring again. Same task, same time, same simple rule. He wanted to quit halfway through, and he didn't. By the 4th day, the boredom was still there, but it was quieter. Like a child who stops screaming when it learns screaming doesn't change the rules. Liam started to see discipline differently. Discipline wasn't a personality trait. It was a boredom tolerance skill. People think disciplined people have stronger willpower. Often, they simply have a higher tolerance for the boring middle. That's why discipline works. It survives the days that feel ordinary. It survives the days with no energy. It survives the days when progress is invisible. Liam remembered how he used to treat invisible progress like failure. If results didn't show quickly, he assumed he was wasting time. That belief kept him stuck, because real growth is slow and quiet. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't trend. It builds under the surface, like roots. He began noticing the difference between pain and boredom. Pain can be a signal. Boredom's often just the absence of drama. He had confused no drama with no value. A week later, Liam had a bad day. Stress, poor sleep, irritation. The old version of him would have said, skip today, restart Monday. He felt that old urge. Then he remembered the new rule. Boring is allowed, starting is required. He did his 20 minutes badly. He did it tired. He did it annoyed. He did it anyway. That day taught him more than any motivational clip. Because discipline is not proven on your best day. Discipline is proven on your average day. Liam started applying this to everything. Fitness, work, learning, finances. Not with huge plans, but with boring minimum standards. He created a small list he called the boring basics. Water, movement, one focused block, one tiny improvement, one quick review at night. The list looked too simple to change a life. That's why it was powerful. Simple is repeatable. Complicated is negotiable. Liam realized he had been addicted to complicated plans because complicated plans made him feel smart. But simple plans made him consistent, and consistency was the thing he actually needed. He stopped trying to transform every week. He started trying to maintain every day. Maintenance became the new flex. After 2 weeks, something strange happened. His cravings for motivation got smaller. Not because he didn't care, but because he no longer needed a feeling to begin. He learned that motivation is a bonus, not a foundation. If motivation arrived, he could do more. If it didn't, he still did the basics. That's the discipline pattern most people miss. You don't build your life on your best mood. You build your life on your minimum standard. Liam wrote a sentence he repeated before every session. I'm not here to feel good. I'm here to be consistent. That line kept him from negotiating. He noticed boredom had a hidden benefit. When work became boring, it also became calmer. Calm work reduced anxiety. Anxiety had been fueling his distraction. The mind hates boredom because boredom forces you to face yourself. No noise, no escape, just you and the task. That can feel uncomfortable at first, but that discomfort is valuable. It builds focus. It builds patience. It builds the ability to stay with something long enough to matter. Liam started to respect boring people, the ones who train quietly, the ones who show up without posting it, the ones who look average on the outside but are dangerous inside because they're consistent. He realized the world rewards boring effort because boring effort compounds. Exciting effort spikes. Compounding is how real results are built. One night, he looked back at his calendar. Instead of random bursts, he saw a chain. Small work repeated. The chain was not impressive in one day, but it was powerful over time. He finally understood why discipline feels boring. Discipline removes drama. It removes the emotional roller coaster. It replaces high with steady, and steady doesn't entertain you. But steady protects you. Steady keeps you moving when life gets noisy. Steady keeps you from restarting your life every Monday. Liam also noticed something else. When he stopped chasing excitement, his self-respect grew. Self-respect is quiet. It doesn't hype you. It settles you. He stopped asking, "Do I feel like it?" and started asking, "What do I do no matter what?" That question changed his identity. He created a tool for days when boredom felt heavy. He called it the 5-minute anchor. 5 minutes of the habit, no matter what, just to keep the chain alive. The anchor wasn't about progress that day. It was about identity protection. It said, "I am still the person who shows up." Liam realized that the goal is not to feel disciplined. The goal is to behave disciplined until the behavior becomes normal. Normal is the real victory, not intensity, not hype, normal. When the habit becomes as normal as brushing your teeth, it stops feeling like a decision. That's why discipline works. It turns big dreams into boring routines, and boring routines into automatic results. He also learned boredom's a filter. It filters out people who want results without repetition. It filters out people who want progress without patience. If you can tolerate boring, you can tolerate the process. And if you can tolerate the process, you can outlast almost anyone. Liam used to believe talent wins. Then he watched boring consistency beat talent again and again, in fitness, in learning, in relationships. Talent is loud at the start. Consistency is quiet at the start. But consistency grows. It compounds. It becomes unstoppable. He remembered the old version of himself, waiting for the perfect mood, waiting for the perfect plan, waiting for the perfect week with perfect energy. Now he laughed at that idea, not in a cruel way, but in an awake way. Perfect weeks don't build a life. Average days do. Liam wrote the final practice that saved him from his old patterns. He called it the boring contract. The contract was simple. Choose one habit, choose a time, choose a minimum, and repeat it daily for 30 days without changing the plan. No upgrades, no new routines, no searching for better, just repetition, because repetition is the whole point. If he wanted to do more, he could, but he was not allowed to do less than the minimum. That rule protected him from his moods. He realized most people quit because they keep redesigning their life instead of living it. They keep searching for the perfect system instead of practicing a simple one. Discipline is boring because it's not entertainment. It's construction. It's the daily bricks. And nobody cheers for bricks until the house is built. If you feel bored, you're not failing. You're arriving. You're standing at the doorway most people turn away from. The question is simple. Will you keep going when it feels ordinary? Because ordinary is where your future is built. Liam stopped chasing the rush. He started respecting the routine. And the routine slowly gave him something motivation never could. Control. Not the feeling of control, but the real kind. The kind that shows up in your calendar, your body, your skills, your finances, your confidence, because the work actually happened. Discipline is boring. That's why it works. It doesn't depend on your emotions. It doesn't require a perfect day. It only requires that you show up again. If you want the practical reset, do this today. Pick one habit, set a minimum that feels almost too easy, and do it at the same time for 7 days, even if you're bored. Then watch what happens. The boredom fades. The arguments get quieter. The habit becomes normal, and normal becomes momentum. Most people never get there because they quit when the excitement leaves. But the excitement is supposed to leave. That's when the real work begins. Don't chase the spark. Build the engine. The engine is boring, repeatable, and honest, and it will carry you when you feel nothing. Boredom is not a sign to stop. Boredom is the price of consistency. Pay it long enough, and your life starts to change quietly, then permanently. Every story reshapes your mindset.